a Swiss organization that also came out to support the debut of the Swiss Pavilion here at CES is Swissnex San Francisco. I'm joined now by Benjamin Bollman and Brigitte Coleman. Guys, what do you think of the booth?
Awesome, super slick, and represents greatly Switzerland and its design and slickness.
Yeah, we're very excited by the number of people that are around the booth, and delighted to see that it raises a lot of interest, and think that it's a great opportunity to showcase a different Switzerland, a more innovative Switzerland, a more creative Switzerland, and a united Switzerland.
And maybe help fight that stereotype that it's just Heidiland and chocolate and cheese, right?
Absolutely, yeah, the program is also quite impressive.
A focus on drones, no surprise there.
Yeah. Yes?
Yeah, exactly. What makes the booth so interesting is that there is always some activities going on. So there's some drone shows, some startup demos, people hang around. It's really cozy. It's, first of all, it's black, which is unusual for a booth in this fair. A lot of other booths are white. And there's some neon signs on the other side that you don't see here that make it very warm. There's a very warm atmosphere, and people really hang around, which is great. And they see all the startups that are showcased at the booth, and some startups just told me that it's really useful for them to have such a cool and professional booth because it makes half of the work. People who come to their product already think it's a product that is worthwhile looking at because there is this great display. So I think it's a great success in that sense.
And
it's also a great meeting spot to tell our clients, hey, come here, meet me here, meet us here. So it's great to have it actually here to say, okay, this is the epicenter and that's where we meet.
And as I understand it, your unofficial title is Connector Explorer, is that right?
Connections Explorer, yeah. Yeah, so basically my job is to scout connections, meet people, also be a good listener, and be then not just the connections, the explorer, or not only the connectivity part, but also the Maven part, to actually that I can broker information back to our clients, back to Switzerland, and not just contacts, but that's why we're here. Because what happened in the past, clients of us were here at CES, and then afterwards, after the fact, they told us, oh, can you connect us with such and such, but we weren't there. So this year, I wanted to go ahead, stay ahead of the game, start the year right and ahead, and have the connections in my pocket and start the year strong, hopefully.
And this is your first year, the first year for both of you, correct? And what is your impression thus far?
I think this kind of setting is very interesting to create some serendipitous connections. We were just talking about connections. One story that happened this morning is that I was just close to the Swiss booth here and spotted the editor-in-chief of Wired magazine just by chance and told him to come to the Swiss booth. And he ended up spending about 20 minutes talking to different startups, including some startups that we supported in the past in San Francisco to our startup camps. One called Inverse that is into virtual reality and graphic, some graphical graphics technologies. Ended up talking with them, doing the demo, and so hopefully this is going to lead to something. But that's a kind of random connections that you can make in these kinds of settings.
So it's really an important step that Switzerland officially set up camp here.
Absolutely, yeah. It's important that we are here as well. If you roam around Eureka Park, you see the other countries here. So we just had to be part of it too.
And it's interesting, you guys being in San Francisco with Swissnex, you're also in that place where all of these startups eventually dream of having a foot in anyway, right?
Yes, and CES in that sense is interesting to us because it's a global platform. It's not only the San Francisco startups and the Swiss startups going to San Francisco, but it's really a place where you come and you meet potential partners, clients, investors from all over the world. And for us, it's the first time. It's on the West Coast. It's under the territory that we cover at Swissnex. And it was a great opportunity for us to come through the Swiss Pavilion, which was really a big collective effort. More than 30 startups, companies, universities, and public agencies have come together to make that dream come true, that Swiss Pavilion. And many of those companies and those organizations, I think, wouldn't have come by themselves alone if there wasn't this big collective effort. And for us, it's a little bit like that. We haven't been here in the past because we had other priorities, but it was a great opportunity for us to come with the rest of the Swiss community that is here and take advantage of that to explore CES and discover what we could do in the future with our partners at CES.
Apropos explore, we pride ourselves to have not just a to-do list, or not just be driven by a to-do list, but also by a to-explore list. So actually, at your daily job, you wish you actually have time to explore, but by the end of the day, you actually just did your to-do list and you just chased the things. Being here is a real privilege actually to explore, to meet people, because otherwise the networking always happens at home in the evening after our work, or you do it during the day, but then you still have to catch up at night with the emails. So this is here just really to detach yourself from the agenda at home and just explore. Go see, roam around, go here at the Eureka Park for startups, which is also a new part. That's why I think we had to be here, and also CES changed, right? But also tomorrow we'll hang the whole day, hopefully just at the convention center at North Hall, South Hall to see all the cool debuts. So it's really now our chance to have our agenda, the Explore list.
I hope you brought comfortable walking shoes.
Yep, yeah.
You're going to need them for that convention center.
Yeah. And snacks, because you never know.
No, you don't. Now, speaking of snacks, speaking of food, this is somewhere where employee number 1 of Swissnex San Francisco, by the way, is one place where you really have your focus.
Yeah, so food tech is the first year on the agenda at CES, and it was yesterday, a great event. I mean, the space is also in the beginning. I mean, also the iPhone didn't start with the iPhone, we started with the iPod. So we were also in the beginnings, and you saw that yesterday also at the food tech event. Great stuff, but a lot of countertop space. If I would have if I have a yogurt maker, cheese maker, a bread maker, everything in my kitchen, I would have no space to do anything anymore. So we still have to, consolidate. But I saw some great personalized technology in the food space yesterday. So it's really a good, I like that it was on the agenda. So that was great. And also we have to make the connections, because we have a lot of food tech clients at Swissnex San Francisco or in Switzerland. There is the Nestle's, the Givaudan's in the world. So we all have to scout on behalf of them and bring it back and broker all the information and the contacts back.
CES is so huge that you almost have to focus on one specific thing to try to find a way how to navigate this huge conference with multiple exhibition halls. And either you are here to discover a little bit, take the pulse, or you are here for a very specific reason, to meet very specific people. There are companies here renting out entire hotels, and they use the hotel rooms to have meetings with potential partners, investors, vendors, the entire day, and they do only that. They don't step foot in the exhibition hall sometimes. So there are really a lot of things happening within the conference, outside of the conference, parties at night, and it's easier if you have a specific goal, I guess.
Did you have your eye on, she had food, but did you have your eye on a specific sector, a specific industry?
So one of the reasons I'm here is also to follow up with some of the startups, as I mentioned, that went through our startup camps in the past and are now part of the Swiss Pavilion, and to support them here. Another reason is to look into what's happening a little bit in the field of AI. We just had actually an initiative at Swissnex and in Switzerland around exploring the idea if Switzerland would need an AI strategy or not. In the past 2 years, more than 20 countries have published or announced AI strategies. And now there is an official working group within the Swiss government looking into these questions. And as part of that, we are looking into AI a lot. So AI has been going through different booms. One of them was vision. Back a few years ago, a lot of people, it was all about vision. Now vision is pretty good, and we have the computational power these days to tackle language, which is a much harder problem than vision. So you see at CES a lot of companies that use voice assistants, smart speakers, and so I'm looking into that to see a little bit where the field is going. And one of the things we see is that the voice assistants by Google and Amazon are now being integrated in a lot of different devices that you have at home. And so what does that mean for society? You know, do you want something that listens to you every day? Do you want to always have someone to talk to and never yourself alone? And does the market want it or not? And what does it mean for a country? What does it mean for technology policy? And that's the kind of questions that we're looking into.
We always have a lot of hats, many hats on. Yes. Like for example, today, this morning, I was at the Zappos HQ, booked a tour, but also to learn about their innovation, what drives their innovation, their corporate culture, because we need also to broker that information back. It's also, there is innovation in how to innovate inside a company. So that was one thing, but there's also many other events and workshops here on, I mean, yesterday I was at the autonomous system networking session, AI, robotics, and so forth. So we have many hats on, and we got to go to all kinds of. And that also makes, I think, amazing disruptive innovation agents, because we are just not in the lens of food tech. We actually see a lot, and then we'll boil it down, and then sometimes 1 + 1 is for us 3, which maybe our client couldn't find.
It sounds like mostly you wear a bit of an ambassador hat, right? Just like you said, a connector between Switzerland and all of the companies in the US, et cetera, everybody that's here. Well, the 155 plus countries that are represented here today.
At the end of the day, it's not about Swissnex, it's not about the Swiss government, it's all about the partners that we are here to support, the startups, the companies, the universities that are with us here, and it's about finding ways to make this experience useful for them.
All right, I'm just going to ask you to put on your critical hat for a moment and tell me what do you wish was different? What about CES has been just like not working for you?
Well, so you buy your badge or you get your badge, and that doesn't mean you have access to anything. It's homework to actually get into the events and parties. It's a word of mouth that Roku has a party, that you get in, that Zappos has tonight a party, you have to make yourself on the list. I think it's very elitist. Are you in? Do you have the connections? And if not, you wouldn't even know what's going on. But these are great networking opportunities. Of course, I can network here as well, but you meet really great crowds if it's already a well-curated event. So I know I will meet high-profile people, which I might not get here in the booth. I might, but here I might stumble upon one, but I know in these events, it's filtered for me already. So, but it's a lot of work to make it happen, to make it a success for yourself.
For me, it's a bit early to say because it's my first full day here, but there are a lot of people around, and it makes it difficult sometimes. There's a lot of lines everywhere. You want coffee, there's a huge line. You want food, there's a huge line. So everything takes time, and you have to take that into account when you do your planning.
Productivity is hard to have that as a positive ROI.
I can hear that. And in terms of keeping your critical hat on for a moment, do you consider that these kinds of events are money well spent for the Swiss government, for the Swiss people? Because in the end, this is a government organization, right?
Absolutely. What I said, it's a privilege to be here for the week and explore. I mean, we need to broker this back to our clients. We cannot just read the blog and the CES live stream and I cannot just read Crunchlyst or Crunchbase and Crunchtech. TechCrunch. Anyhow, so no, you have to do your own homework.
So as I mentioned before, this whole initiative is really a collective effort, and it has required more than 30 organizations to commit and to support this initiative. And so in that sense, it's not about one organization that has invested into this, but it's about every one of us committing a little bit and getting much more in return than we could have if we would have come by ourselves. And so it's really a project that everybody that is here with us has agreed it was worthwhile, and it was worth having a coherent Swiss representation here. And so in that sense, it's really worth it. Yeah.
So are we saying CES 2020, Swissnex San Francisco?
Why not?
All right.
Yeah, we'll see, but why not? We still have a few days to run, but
So far,
so far so good.
So far, so good.
All right, fingers crossed for next year. Thank you so much.